astonishing journey, I think, that we've seen in the industry over the last 5 years. In particular, that's when the real momentum has got behind the investment industry. Areas such as the Nordics, I think, have been really strong in this area for some time now. Around some of those factors, around E, the S, the G, so the environmental, social and governance. And for many people, for the last few decades, there'll be elements to a lot of this that they've adapted into their own investment processes, and particularly areas such as governance. But I think really we've seen it start to dominate for these last sort of 5 years. And it's been, dare I say, it's quite a wild ride. In terms of change, the amount of data providers that are coming through, the number of funds that are being launched, the number of fund groups. You will have noticed this, that fund groups that have suddenly started to unearth their own sort of rich and long history of investing in ESG, which for many they have, but for others I think it lacks any kind of degree of authenticity. But it really has been a period of change, and I feel like we've only really just started. I go to investment conferences, you go to investment conferences all the time. You know, sustainability, ESG, environmental factors are talked about all of the time. And that really has started to dominate the narrative for a lot of investors.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I first probably impinged on my consciousness 25, 30 years ago, actually, but not necessarily coming from the Nordics, but coming from institutional investors. So whether it's big corporations, whether it's charities, whether it's central banks even, and it didn't really seem to impinge on the private client world.
Yeah.
But yes, in the last 5 years, it's now probably the number one topic that I find myself discussing with clients. I think the issue is it means something different to every client, and as you said, that's, you know, we're probably only at the beginning, because one person's ESG is different from another person's ESG, and we should debunk that acronym. So environmental, social, and governance.
Yes.
And as you say, lots of investment houses and funds are demonstrating their credentials, but many of them are just in one of those areas and not the other. So you know, I found that governance is something that has probably been around a bit longer than the other two. I mean, would you agree?
I'd agree with that. I think, you know, a lot of investment managers, analysts would say that they've incorporated governance in one form or another into their investment processes for some time. It's the sort of thing that we as an investment house have always looked for. Some of those sort of governance factors, not necessarily data-driven in some ways, and not necessarily with all of the factors that are now being incorporated into the views, but has often been a strong part of just sensible, solid investment management, of looking for businesses or instruments that are going to be here tomorrow and in 10 years and in 100 years' time. And a lot of that is down to good management, good governance.